Hi, it's time to read chapter 3 and 4 of this book, Hank Zipzers. I got a D in salami. In chapter 1, we found out that Hank isn't very good at spelling, but he's practicing hard. Chapter 2, he's late for school. Has to run back to the apartment to get his jacket and just makes it in time to school. His teacher is Mrs. Adolf, and the class bully has gone first and hasn't done so well. What do you think? How's Hank gonna do? Will he remember all his words? He practiced a lot. Let's see. Chapter 3. And chapter 3 is short, so I'm going to read chapter 4 as well. Chapter 3. Ms. Adolf must have called my name, but I was concentrating so hard I didn't hear her at first. All of a sudden, I saw her standing over me. The entire class was staring at me, every eye burning into my skin. Daydreaming, are we? Ms. Adolf asked. No, I answered. Just practicing my words. I guess I can't spell and hear at the same time. The kids cracked up. I had to smile. There it was, the old zipzer attitude. I still had it. I didn't mean to be funny, but the sound of the kids enjoying my answer feels good. The feeling didn't last very long, however. Come with me, young man, Ms. Adolf commanded. I walked up to the front of the room and turned toward the class. As I looked out at all the faces, my ears stopped working for real. It was as if everything was moving in slow motion. I looked over at Miss Adolf and saw her lips moving, but I couldn't hear anything. Whoa, stress, huh? Miss Adolf repeated the word rhythm. I read her lips. Come on, Hank. Breathe. You know this word, is what my mind said. My body started working again. Rhythm, I said. R-H-Y-T-H-M. Rhythm. Without realizing it, I high-fived myself. The class laughed again. Quiet, this is not a laughing matter, Miss Adolf reminded them. All right, Mr. Comedian. Try receive. R-E-C. I paused. So far, so good. Then my mind went totally blank. R-E-C what? I know there's an E and an I, but which comes first? What's the rule? I before E, except after... Oh no! What's the word? I forgot the word. What's the word I was spelling? How can I be so stupid? Breathe, breathe. I am just breathing. I am not remembering. Well, Henry, there is more to the word than R-E-C, Ms. Adolf said. Oh yeah, thank goodness. Receive. I got the word back. I know this. Don't tell me, I blurted out with confidence. Oh, trust me, I won't, said Miss Adolf, assured me. Receive. R-E-C-I-E-V-E. Receive. Oh, please let that be right. I thought you said you knew it, she said. I'll give you one more chance. Try neighbor. Neighbor, I said. N-A. Where did it go? Last night I knew every one of these words forward and backwards. This morning I lost them. From the time I left the apartment until the time I arrived in class, they must have fallen out of my head. Maybe I lost them on the street or in the hallway or in the stairwell coming up to the classroom. I started to hit my forehead. Maybe I could shake them loose from their hiding place in my brain. How could this be happening? What are you doing, Henry? Asked Miss Adolf. Trying to wake up my brain. Maybe the words are holding onto the side of my brain and won't fall out down into my mouth. The class laughed again, but this time I really wasn't trying to be funny. Try separate, Miss Adolf said. Do I have to? Try separate. Now. I know it starts with an S. Sit down, Henry. But Miss Adolph, I studied these words. I know this. I'm going to count to 3, Henry. If you're not in your seat when I say 3, you're going to Principal Love's office. Miss Adolph, you believe in second chances, don't you? Sure you do. I was begging. 1. Just give me another minute. It takes a while for my brain to get fired up. I'm like an old car. I have to give my brain a little gas. 2. Please don't say 3, Miss Adolph. Just let me try one more word because I'm feeling like I can. 3. She said it. She said 3. I can't believe she said 3. Chapter 4. As I walked down the stairs to the principal's office, I felt like I had taken the walk 100 times before. I felt that way because I had. Oh, what's that tell us about him? Maybe he gets sent to the principal's office a lot for his behavior? Uh-oh. Principal Love and I have spent a whole lot of time together, having long talks. And I don't mean, how about the Mets kind of talk either. Nope. The kind of talks I have with Principal Love is listening to him tell me what I've done wrong. And according to him, that's pretty much everything. I don't know how this happened. I tried to behave in school. I'm not like Nick McKelty, who gets kicked out of class for being a jerk. And I'm certainly not like Luke Whitman, whose full-time job is getting into trouble. I try to follow the rules. I try hard, but somehow I always wind up doing a FaceTime with Principal Love. For example, take the first day in 4th grade. Miss Adolph had us write a 5-paragraph essay describing what we did during summer vacation. It's really hard for me to write a 5-paragraph essay. So I decided to create a living essay. Instead of writing about our visit to Niagara Falls, I made a model of Niagara Falls out of paper mache. I even hooked it up to the classroom sink. The sink in our classroom, so real water could run through it. Was it my fault the water overflowed and gushed onto the floor? Was it my fault that Miss Adolph got blasted in the face by the water hose? Was it my fault that Principal Love stepped on a floating lunch bag and a tuna sandwich exploded in his face? I reached for the first floor and walked toward the office. Mrs. Crook was the attendance officer. I looked up when she saw me. Oh no, Hank. She sighed. Not again. Mrs. Crock, I said, would you like to hear me spell separate? Why, yes, dear, if you'd like to, she answered. S-E-P-A-R-A-T-E, I said. That's very lovely spelling, dear, she said. Have a seat on the bench, and I'll page Principal Love. He's in the cafeteria. I sat down on the bench in the hall. Separate. There it was, just waiting on the tip of my tongue. I knew it was there all along, if only Miss Adolph had given me another chance. I heard footsteps approaching, but I knew it wasn't Principal Love. He always wears rubber-soled Velcro shoes that make squeaky sounds on the linoleum as he walks. These footsteps were clicking, not squeaking. Hank, is that you? A man's voice asked. I looked up. It was Mr. Rock. Mr. Rock is the music teacher at PS 87. I met him at the beginning of the school year when I did a week of detention in his classroom after school. We did the coolest things, like listen to music and talk about our all-time favorite cars. I was so embarrassed that he was seeing me in the principal's office. Miss Adolph sent me to the principal's office again, I told him before he could ask. Miss Adolph, what's your crime? Said Mr. Rock. He asked like he was joking around. I wouldn't sit down during a spelling contest. 40 lashes with a wet noodle for you. He smiled. He was joking around. Mr. Rock is the nicest teacher you could ever hope for, or ever hope to meet. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Principal Love and his dancing Velcro feet were coming down the hall. I stood up and got nervous. Mr. Rock leaned over and whispered in my ear. Speak up for yourself, Hank, he said. You're a great kid. Then he gave me a high five and left. When he saw me at the office door, Principal Love did not look happy. Neither did his mole. Principal Love has a mole on his face that I swear looks like the Statue of Liberty without the torch. Ashley and Frankie disagree. Ashley thinks it looks like a cherry pit. Frankie says it looks like one of those crackers that's shaped like a goldfish. But I say my opinion goes since I've spent the most time in Principal Love's office. More than Frankie and Ashley. I've had a lot more mole viewing time than they have. I see we meet again, Mr. Zip-Zer, Principal Love said in his big man voice. Even though he's not much taller than I am, Principal Love has a really loud voice. He always sounds like he's on a loudspeaker system, even when he isn't. I followed him into his office. Sit down, young man, he said, pointing to the chair across from his desk. You're spending so much time in here. I believe that seat is starting to take the shape of your rear end. I laughed. He didn't. He didn't, not at all. I'll let you know when there's something funny happens, he said. Until then, you keep your laughter to yourself. Ooh. He read over the note Ms. Adolph sent with me, rubbing his chin as he read. He was dangerously close to touching the mole on his cheek. I wonder if when he touches it, it screams, Ick! I know I would. I read here that Miss Adolph asked you to sit down, and you did not, he said. I cleared my throat. I tried to speak. Something came out, but it wasn't words. It was mostly air. With a croaking frog sound mixed in. Principal Love makes you nervous, even if you're trying not to be nervous. Speak up, young man. I tried again. And the few words came out this time. I wasn't finished spelling, sir. I didn't answer, but the directions were to sit down, he said. Were they not? I didn't answer, but everyone at PS 87 knows that when Leland Love asks a question, he likes to answer it himself. Yes, they were, he said, proving my point. I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Zip-Zer, he said, and I want you to carry this thought with you for the rest of your school career. It may be the best single piece of advice you'll ever get. What do you think it is? Maybe? Wow, I was ready for that. I scooted up on the edge of my chair. Lay it on me, I thought. I need this piece of advice. He said, follow directions will get you where you need to be, no matter where you are, he said. If that's the best piece of advice you'll ever get, I hope I never hear the worst. It just so happens that you've caught me in a very good mood, said Principal Love. And so I'm going to let you off with a warning. He reached down and loosened one of his Velcro straps on his shoe. Do you know why I'm in a very good mood, Mr. Zipsner? Because you really, really love your Velcro shoes? I said. That's one reason, he said. They are so convenient. But my second reason is that today is fish day in the cafeteria, and I'm about to go and enjoy a fine piece of halibut. Just for the halibut, that is. He threw his head back and laughed so loud it gave me the creeps. Something funny just happened, he said. You may laugh now, Mr. Zip-Zer. He laughed again. And the Statue of Liberty mole wiggled back and forth as if it was doing the hula. It must like fish too, I thought. Let's see what happens in chapter 5. See you then.